Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think we'll go ahead and get started. The city manager isn't here, but he will be along shortly, I feel certain. Welcome to the council meeting tonight. It is called to order at this time, and if you will, let's stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance to be led by Councilmember Kim Reese.
Thank you. Father, thank you for allowing us to meet tonight. Please be the guidance for this body so that we make sound decisions. I pray that you keep a watchful eye over the citizens of Haltom City and all of our military overseas. In your name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we appreciate the citizens who are here in the council chamber tonight joining us for this meeting of the council. We're also appreciative of those who are watching on HCTV. So welcome to the council meeting tonight. We begin with our announcements and events. Our public information officer, Fran Burns.
Thank you, Mayor. Quite a few things happening in April, and the first one is this weekend. It's our Texas Trash Off, the annual cleanup of state highways through Haltom City. Help clean up our town and volunteer for the Texas Trash Off litter pickup this Saturday, April 1st. Those who want to help should report at 8:30 a.m. to the Kroger parking lot at the corner of Denton Highway and Broadway Avenue. Litter bags, gloves, and T-shirts, which were sponsored by the American Legion, will be provided to all volunteers. Lunch will also be provided to those who come to Springfest directly following the pickup. And then Springfest is this Saturday as well, April 1st. The annual Haltom City Welcome to Spring will take place from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at Broadway Park. Food, music, games, displays, and of course the Easter Bunny will be part of this annual event. There's no admission charge, and the Easter egg hunt will take place at 12:30 p.m. and will be over with by 12:31. So don't be late. Special Easter story time at the library will feature the Easter Bunny arriving at 11 a.m. Friday, April the 7th, so hop on in. Free Landfill Day Saturday, April 8th from 6 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the C&D Landfill, 4414 Dick Price Road in Fort Worth. A city water bill and Texas driver's license is required as proof of residency. This is open to residents only, not businesses, just residents. A limit of 1 pickup load of materials per household will be imposed. That's Saturday, April the 8th. Tax help is still being provided by AARP volunteers, but it will end soon. Tax preparation help is available Monday afternoons at the Senior Center and Thursday afternoons at the library. Just a few sessions remain at these locations. Last day at the Senior Center is Monday, April 10th, and the final day at the library is Thursday, April 13th. Call either of these facilities to make your appointment. IH 820 and IH 35W public meeting will be Thursday, April the 27th, so please save that date if you're interested in TxDOT's proposed changes to this transportation corridor. The public meeting will be held from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Richland Hills Church of Christ, which is a large church located at Meadow Lakes Drive in Northeast 820. Changes made to these main highways affecting Fort Worth, North Richland Hills, and Haltom City will be discussed. The format is a come and go, and those who attend can provide to TxDOT written comments or questions. And the last item is check the website. If you haven't visited our Haltom City website at www.haltomcitytx.com lately, then you might want to go there again. On the site, you will find everything and anything you'd like to know about the city, from council agendas to daily announcements of events to forms for applying to pay for your water bill by credit card. It's all there online, so www.haltomcitytx.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Do we have other announcements or events to make our citizens aware of tonight? A lot of good things going on in Haltom City, and thank you for calling those to our attention. Item number 1 on the agenda tonight is the monthly financial report for the month of February 2006. Our Finance Director, Joel Welsh, will be making this presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As the mayor indicated, there are a lot of things going on in Haltom City, and they've been very good so far, and I like to follow that with a financial report so that I can report to the city council that through the first 5 months of the fiscal year, the city's budget is in good shape. Revenues are in general within the accepted parameters. Expenditures are also about where I expect them to be at this point of the year. Our sales taxes, which of course are beneficial to the general fund, the CCPD, the EDC, and the street reconstruction fund, are quite strong for the year. I'm anticipating that we will probably exceed estimates in the general fund by about $400,000, about half that much in EDC, and then about another $110,000 in the street reconstruction fund and in the CCPD. These are welcome results that I think we're going to see. As I had mentioned a few months ago with the monthly report, I had begun to try to do some more dynamic estimating on a month-to-month basis on the outcome of the fiscal year. And as we reach the midpoint of the year, I believe that you should begin to see the variation in some of my estimates beginning to narrow. The range of variance will begin to narrow as we get farther and farther into the year, and the picture is going to become a lot clearer. But I can say overall, as I mentioned, the general fund is in good shape. All of the budgets are within parameters. They are even the ones that may be a little faster than where I expect them to be right now are not so far out of line to where they won't be brought back in by year end, I think. In the water and sewer fund, the sales, of course, of water continue to exceed projections due to the weather. I had been looking at the rainfall numbers today from the National Weather Service so that I could make note of that with the council tonight. I would make note that January and February numbers for this year are about the same as they were for last year, which was about the same as they have been for about the last 5 years. So our rainfall pattern, at least at this point, is temporarily back into some relative norms. And if I continue to project sales, assuming that we're going to be a little closer to normal than we were last year, which was about as abnormal as we have been in about 90 years, I think that we will still see revenues exceeding the budget on the water side. On the wastewater side, as I mentioned in the executive summary report, we have been examining the winter re-averaging, which is required under Chapter 98.110B of our water code. We have reviewed those results, and we have been analyzing them very carefully in light of the metered flows of effluent to Fort Worth water for treatment. And we have found that there is not a direct correlation between our winter averaging and the flows to Fort Worth water. In fact, if we were to re-average using our water sales, that we would, in my opinion, overcharge the customers. And so therefore we are going to be asking the council if they would consider an ordinance suspending the winter re-averaging for this year and this year alone, and leave last year's rates in effect. As far as the gallons and the consumption, we think that in the final analysis that's going to be fair to the customers. The customers did have the water go through the meter. They did pay for the water when it went through the meter. But that excess water went into the ground and it didn't go into our sewer system, so we don't think that we should charge people for water that went into the ground. And it's not going to have a financial impact on the water and sewer fund, not a negative one, because whatever revenue we would have seen for that had no offsetting expense. It will have no impact on our expenses, as best as I can tell. So we will come back at next meeting and ask the council to consider an ordinance to effect that change. That is my report for the operational side. I'm going to briefly touch upon a few aspects of the investment report that are of note. Our portfolio is a little higher than it was last month, and basically that's to be expected this time of year with the tax collections coming in. In about another month or two, we will begin to tail off in the portfolio again as we make more capital expenditures and as we spend down the tax collections. Our portfolio is still about 50% liquid and about 50% invested out over time. Considering the amount of money that we have in capital projects funds and the fact that these projects are ongoing, this is the type of split that I'm most comfortable with at this point. I think it gives us the yield we can hope for and the protection that we need for our cash flow. Our weighted average yield broke over 4% for the first time in some years since the interest rates, plummeted back 5 or so years ago. Our weighted average yield is 4.008%. It is up from 3.925% last month, and it is up from 2.41% for the time frame of last year. So we've jumped from 2.4% to 4%, and it has manifested itself through many of the operational budgets in cases where interest income is well ahead of projection, and in some cases has exceeded budget projection for the year. So that is a very positive development for the budget as a whole. Our benchmark is 4.3%. We're still chasing it. That's a good thing. We'll continue to chase it till we catch up with it. I will also mention finally that we've added 2 reports to the supplemental data section. The employment information is still in the report, but we have added some information from our municipal court and some information from the utility billing division, hopefully to provide some insight for the council as to the types of activities going on in the city. In particular with the utility billing fund, you can see the number of accounts as it moves up and down, which can kind of in a way tell you what's going on in the town, just like our employment numbers do. And these documents, this is the first time they've appeared. This is not in final form. We thought getting you the information would be valuable. There will be some tweaking going on to make the presentation a little easier to read and make some of the graphics a little more meaningful. Right now, some of them the scales are still not exactly where they need to be, but they're going to get there over the next couple of months, and these reports will turn into something that I think will be of particular interest.
Members of the council, before I call for a motion, do we have any questions or comments for Mr. Welsh? Councilmember Lanford.
Thank you, Mayor White. Just wanted to highlight my personal thanks to you for the municipal court activity report, and also to give public kudos to Chief Burton, Judge Knapp, and all the folks who work with them. Clearly, we've made great strides in the last 2-3 years there, where we saw a 54% reduction since the 03-04 year in citations issued, and at the same time, during that same period, we've had a 2% increase in fines and fees revenue. That makes the whole process look a lot better. It means we're writing, the tickets we're writing are good tickets, and we're not writing a bunch of tickets that aren't going to make any revenue. I calculated that the average revenue from per citation in the 03-04 year was $33.66. For the 05-06 year, is $74.74. That's a lot better. And again, appreciate the chief and the judge for their good work in this area. And thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Muir, you have a comment? Okay. There being no further questions or comments, I'm ready for a motion regarding approval of the monthly 2006 for the month of February. Councilmember Reese, followed by Councilmember Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve monthly financial report for February 2006.
Councilmember Sutton.
That's for a second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? There being none, if you'll register your vote, please. and it is a unanimous vote for approval. Item number 2 will be presented by the city manager. It's the Capital Improvement Status Report. Mr. Muir?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, the first project we're starting off with is one that really hasn't moved a whole lot lately, the Parish and Salona project. This is the project that we submitted to our CDBG grant a little over a year ago. It was approved. This is the one where we're going to be doing a couple of play systems adjacent to these two streets. The project's been held because of another project we've got that I'll be explaining a little bit later, the Salona Street drainage project. But we're that project has progressed to a point to where this thing will probably be bid out. Bids will probably be issued out in April, probably awarded in May, and we'll start construction on that stuff in the summer. The Browning and Dunson traffic signal project. This is the city's first traffic signal project I think they've done in my 4 years here. It's going to provide a signal at Dunson and Browning. Last council meeting, the council awarded a contract for about $116,000 for that. It should be up and operational by September of this year. In drainage, briefed y'all on some of the challenges with the Little Fossil Creek Improvement Project and some of the challenges the Corps has given us. The staff will be meeting with the Corps early in April, so we'll hopefully by the time I give this report next month, I'll have some something to tell y'all. I'm not sure what, but something. In the Salona Circle Drainage Improvement Project, this is a project the council awarded a little over probably about a month ago. It's a $365,000 project. The contract documents will be executed probably next week, 10 days. Notice to proceed will probably be given out another week or two after that. So they'll probably be starting sometime mid to late April, and they should be finished with that thing in late summer. For water and sewer projects, the Skyline Mobile Home / Swan Street project, that thing is nearing completion. It was supposed to be complete by this Friday, and that's not going to happen. It's probably going to take another 30 days to complete. And frankly, I thought it was going to take more like 60 days to complete after that, but they've really gotten after it in the last few weeks. They've finished all the sewer mains, and all the sewer mains and services are installed. Right now, they're taping the sewer lines. Then they're going to be dealing with the roads, putting the roads back to where they need to be. But hopefully, that thing will be completed sometime in April. The Menace Water Main project and the Highway 377 Water Main project. These are two separate projects. We're kind of being held up with easement acquisition right now, but we're still making progress with the property owners, but that's still being held up. The Midway Waterline Project, Phase 1. This is going from Harrow to Carson. It's about a half a mile worth of new water line along Midway. Later in this meeting, the council will be considering awarding a contract for this project. Hopefully it'll probably start in April and be finished by August. Phase 2 will be done next fiscal year, and it'll go from Carson all the way to Menace, again along Midway Road. Both phases will include providing new overlay for the entire street of Midway. In buildings, the Recreation Center Expansion Project. Hopefully this will be the last time you hear from me on this. It is complete. We have come to an agreement on the closeout. The contractor is giving up the retainage. We're keeping the retainage. That doesn't mean we've got $106,000 to figure out what to do with. That means I don't have to pay $106,000, or I don't have to find a way to pay $106,000. It's money that it was going to be a challenge to find to pay if we were going to pay it, but we have come to an agreement. They have forfeited the retainage, and the project is closed out. I think I got one final payment to make on them for a few grand on a couple of things that were outside the project, but other than that, the project is closed. The library, we've made some significant headway in a land acquisition, and we've hopefully in the coming next couple of weeks we'll be able to make a significant announcement regarding the land acquisition for that. So that will, we've come to an understanding and agreement with the property owner. We still need to execute some court documents, but hopefully here in a couple of weeks we'll be releasing full details of all that. The senior center project, that thing is substantially complete as of today. I'm not saying they're moved in or anything or are using it yet. There's still some things that have to happen, but hopefully in the next week, 10 days, they'll be moved in there, starting to use it more as a soft opening. We'll probably do more of a bells and whistles, grand hoopla kind of thing early to mid-April, I guess, somewhere around there. And I'm sure Bobby will plan something, and we'll certainly invite y'all, and we'll invite the citizens to come see the new senior center. That'll take any questions.
We have any questions for Mr. Muir on the capital improvement status report? Okay, there being none, we don't need to take any action on this one. We'll move then to the consent agenda. That's items 3 through 7. For those of you who are following the agenda, this takes into consideration the minutes from the previous meeting, an interlocal agreement between the City of Haltom City and the City of Fort Worth to purchase library services, the second reading of an ordinance establishing a police reserve force, a bid for the Midway Road water main project, and also a resolution supporting the Texas Region Seawater Plan. These are considered to be self-explanatory and will be enacted by the council with one motion. I'm ready for a motion now regarding the consent agenda. Councilmember Reese and then Councilmember Holcomb.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda items 3 through 7.
Councilmember Holcomb.
It's a second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. If you will, register your vote, please. And that motion to approve passes by unanimous vote. Item number 8 is for the council to take action regarding accepting the resignation of our associate municipal judge. For the last 3 or 4 years, John White has served as an associate municipal judge in the city of Haltom City. We deeply appreciate the service he has rendered to our city, and he has submitted his resignation. I think you have a copy of it before you. And Judge White, would you like to address the council before the council takes action with regard to your resignation?
Thank you very much, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I really am thankful for the opportunity and privilege to have served you, the citizens of Haltom City, and an opportunity to work with Judge Knapp with regard to being your interim or associate judge. The thing is that I have come upon, I think as you know, I ran for judge the 324th Family Court, and since that time circumstances have come about where I find it necessary to endorse one of the other candidates, and in order to do that, I can't be mayor. Can't be can't be judge, and so it is with heavy heart that I have to resign. During this time that I've been with you, serving you, I've come to know some of you really well, and others of you just kind of slightly, but as I said in the pre-conference meeting, one of the things about Haltom City is that it's a unique city, and it's a hard-working city, especially the council, as some would say, at this time. The thing is, in my campaign, I've had an opportunity to talk with other cities in the county, and all of them have had a positive response with regard to Haltom City and the mayor, Judge White. You can't imagine the statements, the positive statements of how they talk about the positive things, the positive works that the Haltom City has done. Again, I want to thank you for this opportunity to work with you. I don't want to say goodbye, but I'm an old history kind of cowboy kind of guy, so until we meet again, I would say also since Ralph Swearingen has come in and he's run, and since hopefully after this I can then endorse him also. But again, I want to thank you. I've had an opportunity, like I said, to work with you. It appears that the council is going forward in maintaining the continuity under whomever is the new regime. But in any event, thank you.
Thank you, Judge White, for appearing before the council tonight and explaining your resignation a little bit more in detail. And also thank you for the service you've rendered to the citizens of Haltom City.
Thank you.
With that, members of the council, we are ready for a motion regarding the resignation submitted by Associate Municipal Judge John White. Councilmember Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we accept the resignation of Associate Municipal Judge John White.
Councilmember Sutton.
Well, with deep gratitude for his service and for the person he is, we thank you. That's the second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resignation. If you will, please register your vote. And that is a unanimous vote of the council to accept this resignation. We move now to the Visitor Citizens Forum portion of the meeting. Brenda, do we have anyone who's filled out a yellow speaker's request card?
No, Mayor, no one has.
Okay, do we have anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council at this time under the Visitor Citizens Forum? Okay, there being none, we'll move on, and that saves me from having to read the disclaimer tonight. And that's one of the few times in the last 5 years I haven't had to read the disclaimer. Boards and commissions. Item number 9, first of all, resignations. Councilmember Bransom, I believe you have a ratification request.
Thank you, Mayor. I submit the resignation of Geraldine Lewis from the Beautification Board.
Okay, members of the council, you've heard this request by Councilmember Bransom. If you will express your pleasure regarding ratification of this resignation. It is a unanimous vote. Councilmember Reese.
Yes, Mayor, I've got a resignation from the Animal Advisory on Scott Morrow.
Okay, if you will register your vote regarding ratification of that resignation. And it is a unanimous vote. Council Member Hutchison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a resignation letter from Mr. Scott Allen, who is planning to resign from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and he wants to make his resignation effective on April the 25th, 2006.
Okay, if you will register your vote regarding this resignation. And that, too, is a unanimous vote. Do we have any other resignations of board members to take action on at this time? Okay, there being none, we'll move to appointments and reappointments. Councilmember Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate Randall Hilton, to the Charter Review Committee.
Okay, if you will register your vote for this appointment to the Charter Review Committee, please. And that nomination is ratified. Council Member Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to nominate Kenneth Wilson to the Charter Review Committee.
Okay, if you will register your vote on this recommendation. And that is a unanimous ratification vote. Councilmember Hutchison.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to nominate appoint Mr. Gary Blocker at 3304 Swan Street on the Charter Review Committee, please.
Okay, if you will register your vote for ratification on this recommendation. And that, too, is a unanimous vote. Councilmember Reese.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 for the Animal Advisory. I am needing to appoint William Anderson as the veterinary that we need on there.
Okay,
And,
go ahead with the
okay,
second.
and then Elaine Moore is going to be, I forget the name of the other legal position we need,
It'll be animal advocacy.
advocacy.
Okay. If you will, register your vote regarding ratification of these two appointments by Councilmember Reeves. Okay, both of those ratifications passed by unanimous vote, and Councilmember Branson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to submit the name of William Andrew Savage for the Beautification Board.
Okay, we have a motion. If you will, register your desire regarding ratification. And that is a unanimous vote by the council. Do we have any other appointments or reappointments? Okay, there being none, we've addressed all of the items on the agenda tonight. We have no further need for executive session. The time is 7:31, and we stand adjourned.
Sorry, I was